Thank you for joining us on the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, PAHO wants Caribbean governments to pay more attention to occupational health and safety. A review of the Fire Act may be on the cards, and government is delivering on its promise of a playing field to the Lapland constituency. We'll bring you a special report. Stay with us for more after this.
If you can believe this,
come by my house and let me show you some movies.
why can't you believe this? Some mothers don't believe their own children when they say they've been sexually abused, and they don't report it. Remember, if anyone asks to see or touch their private parts, touches them inappropriately, shows them or forces them to touch one's private parts, has sex with them, shows them pornographic material, or deliberately lets them hear or see the act of sex, then it is sexual abuse. Believe your child and report the sexual abuse. For more information about child abuse, contact these agencies. This message brought to you by UNICEF and this station.
Thank you for staying with us. Government is delivering on its promise of a playing field to the Lapland constituency. GIS News, along with parliamentary representative for that area, Honorable Peter Seja, took a tour of that project on Monday, and Kimani Seja brings us that report.
Parliamentary representative for the Lapland constituency, Honorable Peter Seja, is proud of obvious illustrations of government's delivery on promises made to constituents of the area, specifically the Lapland playing field. Honorable Saint-Jean, village council officials and GIS News formed a team on Thursday, December 5th, taking a tour of ongoing upgrade projects in the Lapland constituency, one of which is the Lapland playing field, which is receiving attention at this time. Earlier works on the Lapland playing field was undone by constant run of water, and the decision had to be taken to do an overhaul of the entire play area and upgrade the players' pavilion.
The reviews on the works that are being carried on the playing field have been very, very positive. In fact, this playing field project, like I've articulated in previous newscasts, is of utmost importance for the community of Lapland, given that, first of all, the playing field has been decommissioned for almost 2 years now. And secondly, even before it was decommissioned, the state of the playing field was not the best. Over the period, the young sports individuals within the community have had to go to Rivière Syrique and use the hard court. So from that perspective, it is a very critical project as far as engagement of the young people of the Lapland area is concerned.
A $75,000 undertaking, the Lapland playing field currently employs 5, with additional positions to be made available following the seeding stage. Contractor Ferdinand Green describes the financial considerations of the project.
So far we use over 30 to 40 truckloads of material on the playing field. Why, when we get up to Lapland, we thought that we were going to just do a straight work, but to level the field, it had to take a lot of material. We are bringing in the region of between 400 to 600 tons of material on the field to complete the field.
This sand is being hauled from outside of the area. The major difficulty, he says, was the discovery of large rocks all over the field, which would hinder seed growth and had to be removed. Over the next few days, residents can expect intense work on the Lapland playing field, which is already 80% complete.
The contractor has a comprehensive contract. He's leveling, bringing in stuff, leveling, so he's hauling material, leveling, and he will also be responsible. He's also responsible for doing the grassing of the field. So by the end of the year, by the end of this year, we expect the works to be complete. the grassing will have been done so that effectively by March of next year, we should have a surface that would be in playing condition.
For the Lapland playing field to meet national standards, which is the plan, the field will be fenced and lit. A 200-foot wall to protect from runoff water, a storm drain and sitting stands will form part of the project. For many people, the Lapland playing field is a personal undertaking which has been a long time coming.
That is the only time I see the playing field very flat like that. Some people come and work on it before and that's pure nonsense that was happening, but now I find they're doing a very good job. Because it have plenty young footballers in Lapland, it have plenty youths, and all of them will just be playing on the plane. Sometimes it doesn't even play on the playing field, sometimes it's on the basketball court we have to be playing because we haven't got a playing field. So right now, I see the playing field getting there, and I say thanks God to Mr. Saint-Jean and Peter Greenaway, doing a very good job, and I could say thank you for that, man. Yeah.
I play football every day of my life. I can still go on a football field and kick a ball, do anything. I can still do that on a football field. So I want to make sure that the field come out the way I want it, and I take pride to do it. And I want to always say it again. I want to say to the government of Dominica, that's one of the best things it's doing, is to take care of the football fields.
Even the parliamentary representative.
This project, to my mind, is one of the most critical projects for me as PAL rep. I need at this point to deliver that project to the young people of La Plaine because for too long they have not had. And so you will realize I have intimate knowledge because, I carry this project to every part of the community that I go, every country that I travel, I carry this project along with me. My ultimate goal is to see this project completed. And of course, too, one of the pending advantages of the project too is that it has created some economic spill-offs within the community in that the contractor, although he's not from La Plaine, has engaged some young guys from La Plaine who are actually on the project.
Though all the resources are not yet readily available, a commitment has been secured from the island's finance minister. Honorable Saint-Jean is assured of this promise since the Labour Party government has a track record of delivering on its pledges. Kimani Saint-Jean for GIS News.
The team took a tour of other ongoing projects in that constituency. GIS will bring you more in subsequent newscasts. In other news, PAHO's program officer for Dominica, Shirley Augustine, has said that inadequate policy, legislation and institutional framework for occupational health and safety in Dominica and the Caribbean at large is a concern which must be addressed. Augustine, who addressed the start of a health and safety consultation for contractors on Thursday, noted that PAHO attributes this trend to a lack of political will among Caribbean governments and inadequate financial resources. Augustine said occupational health and safety is low on the national agenda of Caribbean countries and there is limited capacity for enforcement. According to her, these challenges have resulted in, among other concerns, high levels of accidents on the job.
It has been observed that the effects of these challenges contribute to the high number of occupational accidents, injuries and diseases, absenteeism, large compensation packages, and our people in Dominica are learning this one very well, weak and fragmented occupational health and safety governance, poor communication at the department and ministerial levels, and finally, a lack of ownership and responsibility among workers, employers, and the government, leading to a weak culture around workers' health and safety.
The PAHO local program officer said another concern is the large number of occupational and work-related injuries and diseases that are preventable yet persist.
That large number of injuries and also diseases, we can link them to the situation of a lack of emphasis on primary prevention. Being aware of the under-registration in the region, PAHO estimates that 7.6 million accidents in 2006 and close to 11,343 fatalities in 2009 occurred in Latin America and the Caribbean region alone. And the main causes include weak compliance with legislation, where we have legislation, and also rules and regulations, the lack of incentives for prevention, weak knowledge transferring to skills in the workplace, lack of education on occupational health and safety, insufficient training of inspectors, inadequate policy and legal frameworks bolstering primary prevention and workers' health promotion, and weak reporting and recording.
Augustine has said that to address these concerns, policies, legislation, and institutional frameworks must be created and strengthened for workers' health and safety in Dominica. She added that there is also a need to create and sustain a culture of prevention where regulation and data analysis focus heavily on preventive strategies against occupational injuries and diseases. Meantime, Dominica's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. David Johnson, told a consultation that Dominica's Employment and Safety Act imposes a duty on the employer to adopt reasonable procedures and techniques designed to prevent or reduce the risk of employment injuries.
The Employment Safety Act, Chapter 9008 of the Commonwealth of Dominica outlines the duty of employers with respect to employment safety. The Act clearly states that every person operating or carrying on a business shall do so in a manner that will not endanger the safety or health of any person employed thereupon or in connection therein.
He said employees must also take precautionary measures on the job. In light of changes affecting operations of the Fire and Ambulance Department of Dominica, government is considering a review of the Fire Act. This was revealed by Honorable Alvin Bernard, Acting Minister for National Security, at the opening ceremony of the Caribbean Association of Fire Chiefs Conference on Monday. Honorable Bernard stated that government is mindful of the conditions under which fire officers are asked to operate. He said that in this regard, the government is looking to review the legal and administrative framework of that department.
One example under consideration is our current Fire Act. And of course, with the introduction of the extended hours of operation at the Melville Hall Airport, the Act, as it is currently written, requires some revision. So we are actively engaging all concerned in that regard.
Honorable Bernard highlighted government's efforts to ensure that the Fire and Ambulance Department is well equipped. He spoke particularly highly of the new $4 million fire station in Marigot. Honorable Bernard also applauded the Caribbean Association of Fire Chiefs for the work of the organization. He encouraged members of the conference to not only share knowledge but policy information within their respective departments.
It is my hope that while this conference will have the opportunity to consider new technology and related products, I suggest that you also take the opportunity to inform current and future policy related to your institution. Let me add that good policy must be legal, clear, affordable, and practical.
The Fire Department hosted a conference for fire chiefs and officers all over the Caribbean. That was the 12th annual conference of CAFC. That meeting culminated on Friday, December 6th. The melodious voices of staff of the Northern Health District as they welcome Dominica's head of state, His Excellency Charles Savre, to the Portsmouth Hospital on Thursday. His Excellency Charles Savre, his wife, as well as board members of the President's Charities Foundation, paid a special visit to the medical facility as part of the President's end-of-year visits to a number of social institutions across the country. The President and his entourage were warmly received by the district medical officer.
It is a real honor and privilege for us to welcome you and your wife back to Portsmouth in your capacity as President of the beautiful Commonwealth of Dominica.
As has been done at previous visits to charitable organizations, the President's Charities Foundation made a presentation towards the care of the elderly. The presentation was made by a wife of the President, First Lady Clara Savre, to a representative of the organization.
It's a great privilege to receive this contribution for care of the elderly. I was here last year, but it was a different president. But I pray that God will be with you, give you long life and strength.
President Savre, who hails from the town of Portsmouth, said the President's Charity Foundation is delighted to be in a position to make such a valuable contribution towards the organization.
The President's Charity is very happy to be able to contribute in this way. This foundation was established by President Liverpool, and President Williams continued in the tradition, and I am happy to be able to continue in the path that has been blazed by President Liverpool and President Williams.
The President's program of visits to social and charitable organizations across the country will end with a visit to the Princess Margaret Hospital on December 12th. In other news, Lister Fabian made history in her community by becoming the first female chairperson of the Benz-Ans-de-May and Soldat Village Council after 48 years of the council's existence in that community. At the 16th inaugural meeting of the Village Council on Thursday, 5 women and 3 men were sworn in as councillors to serve the Village Council for the next 3 years. Parliamentary Representative for the Paybush constituency, Honorable Matthew Walter, in his address at the ceremony, commended the young men and women who volunteered to participate in the development of their community. He congratulated those elected and wished the council well in its endeavors for the next 3 years. Honorable Walter remarked that government over the past years has demonstrated its ability to cope with global changes. So too, he said, the new council must take up the challenge to be dynamic and creative in order to achieve its goals.
I want to tell the council that they too have to be dynamic, just as the government is responding to the dynamic changes that take place globally. They too cannot depend fully on government, as made mentioned by the outgoing chairman for everything. They have to be creative and they have to be innovative.
Lister Fabian, in her address, encouraged the community to join forces in order to move forward. She solicited the cooperation of her colleagues and the community in achieving a list of priority items on her agenda.
The segregation among the three seemed to be a great barrier in the development of the community. The first project to be undertaken by this council will be the relocation and construction of a new bus stop, since our present one is said to be in a dangerous location in an area which is prone to mudslides and dangerous overhanging trees. Also, there is a need for the improvement of our sporting facilities, such as the regular maintenance of the playing field and the lighting up of the Benz hard courts.
These are just a few of the initiatives which Fabian intends to undertake. Minister for Community Development, Honorable Gloria Shillingford, expressed her delight to see the young woman take leadership in her community. She added that local authorities play a significant role in the development of their communities while assisting government in carrying out its mandate. Honorable Shillingford expressed government's commitment to continue supporting local authorities, but admonished councillors to be united and honor their commitment by serving the full term.
If it is perceived that there is disunity within the council, where is the inspiration for the rest of the community to cooperate with you? Where this inspiration is lacking, progress is slowed down and success is lessened. I therefore urge you, incoming councillors, to place personal interests aside and to concentrate on the business of building your community.
Minister Shillingford also encouraged the village council to tap into the resources available through their umbrella organization, DALA. Honorable Reginald Austrie represented Prime Minister Honorable Skerritt at that function. He challenged the council to remain positive as they make meaningful contributions to their community. Honorable Austrie listed a number of projects from which the Benz-Ansdime community has recently benefited. He particularly noted the ongoing $4 million water project in Benz. Outgoing Chairman Griffin William congratulated the new leadership of the council and pledged his continued support in the development of his community. In an effort to bring awareness to the benefits of consuming more fish, the Fisheries Division held its first ever National Fish Queen contest on Thursday. Impressive culinary art was on display at the National Stadium, where participants cooked on site a variety of fish dishes to be judged. Chief Fisheries Officer Andrew Magloire, during his remarks at the closing ceremony of the contest, stressed that local fish consumption will ensure the survival of the industry and those involved in the trade. In other news, representatives of the ECCU private sector met on November 27th to discuss the role of the tourism sector as the region's lead transformational sector. The meeting, which was held at the ECCB, was attended by representatives of the ECCU private sector, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, tourism boards and authorities, industry stakeholders, development and commercial banks, the OECS Secretariat, and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. The participants were welcomed with remarks by the Honorable Sir Dwight Venner, Governor of the ECCB, and Dominican Miss Lillian Piper, President of the OECS Business Council. Some of the challenges confronting the tourism sector were outlined in presentations by Honorable Richard Skerritt and Honorable Lorne Theophilus, Ministers for Tourism of St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Lucia, respectively. Mr. Rodinel Suma of the OECS Secretariat also delivered a presentation on the OECS tourism policy. The issues outlined in the presentations included the contribution of the tourism sector to national GDP, the challenges faced by industry stakeholders, and the synergistic relationship between tourism and other sectors. The presentations provided useful insight into perspectives for further analysis and discussion, particularly with respect to the role that the private sector can play in advancing tourism as the transformational sector and its impact on other sectors. The interactive session of the meeting identified strategic priorities for the tourism sector, and the participants agreed that these would require closer collaboration amongst all stakeholders. The meetings of ECCU private sector representatives are held via video conference monthly, with attendees at the ECCB headquarters, St. Kitts and Nevis, and the ECCB agency offices in the other 7 member countries. The group welcomes the participation and contribution of all private sector representatives in the ECCU. And that's it for the English segment of the news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Louis. Premièrement, le gouvernement Dominique a engagé une compagnie People's Republic of China, possibilité pour bâtir un base avion international en Dominique. Parole celle-là sortie du Premier ministre, Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt. Sinon, Honorable Skerritt, officier de délégation compagnie là qui a visité l'occasion Compton Point, où la facilité celle-là qui a bâti. Premier ministre Skerritt dit un draft Memorandum of Understanding devant le cabinet pour considération. Ça a fait pour bâtir une facilité comme ça qui a coûté un lot d'argent. Honorable Skerritt fait parole que le gouvernement pas que porter l'argent pour bâtir. Et depuis tout, le gouvernement qui garde plusieurs options bâtir et puis l'argent hors grant. Alors la nouvelle, le travail commencé bien formidable à la station police à la plaine. Membre Parlement Honorable Peter Saint-Jean visite le projet là semaine là.
check mois passé, nous avons créé un ground-breaking ceremony en la plaine pour nous bâtir un police station neuf. Et aujourd'hui là, moi content qui travaille quand j'ai commencé en le projet là et nous qui travaillé en fondation police station là et aussi case là pour police inspector là. Ça c'est un grand projet qui a coûté nous, qui a coûté gouvernement plus de 3 millions de dollars. Et l'avantage qui nous en la plaine c'est nous nommons un rôle de la plaine même qui engagé en projet là et moi je voulais complimenter contracteur là, ça c'est monsieur Henderson, Kelvin Henderson, puisqu'il engage les gens en communauté là. Il n'a pas encore commencé travail bloc, mais mon espoir qu'il est travail bloc là commencé semaine prochaine. Nous avons plus de gens engagés en travail là. Pour nous en la plaine, ça c'est un gros projet, puisque pour plus de 30 l'année, nous partis ni en police station, police là t'es louer case en différentes sections la plaine. Mais aujourd'hui jouer avec un projet ça là, nous avons qui police là qui est en bonne place, nous qui est l'office et aussi inspecteur là nous pas qui pour louer caille il qui est en place là il ça rester ça. Ça c'est un grand projet pour nous en la plaine.
Alors, nouvelle, mesdames, messieurs, ça fait sécurité pour travailler qui ont engagé en bagaille construction autant important. Parole ça l'a sorti un grand officier du département santé environ Sylvestre Saint-Ville pendant un workshop qui était chaîne pour mon construction en Dominique.
On travaille à la construction, ni pour faire travail dans une manière, il pas exposer quoi pour injury avec maladie. Donc ça, il pour faire pour précaution, pour faire servir bagaille, il pour servir pour protéger quoi, helmet li, soulier wed li. Vous savez ces bagages ça là, so, si on cache tomber, il pas que péter tête li, pas que taper injury en tête li avec pied, changer clou en construction industrial, concrete. Vous savez ça ou ka ouais moun ka travaille en construction, yo ni pushing en pied yo ni Toyota, vous savez ça nous ka créer Toyota. Mais si yo ni pour travailler avec soulier wed, pour soulier parce les injury avec ce bagage health affecté ces moun la construction. Il a créé un burden dans les pays, les économies pays. So, si nous sommes gens qui travaillent en construction industrielle, avec en bonne santé, nous savons nous développer plus bien. Nous pas pour servir l'argent pour traiter dans l'hôpital là. Nous savons c'est bagaille ça là.
Finalement, jeunesse en voilà Koudoué taper opportunité pour te apprendre au l'état neuf. Comité de développement la Koudoué et puis division éducation Guamoun te organisé un programme pour 7 semaines où les participants recevront trainement, décoration bonbons, coup de hard et puis électricité. Par exemple, le programme là, c'était pour créer des opportunités pour les gens apprendre en l'état neuf, pour taper travail ou même pour avancer l'état yo déjà né. Si l'on Francisque Joseph, au département éducation Guamoun, il est bien intéressant à assister Guamoun à apprendre en l'état. Joseph aussi encouragé ses participants là pour passer information là à d'autres monde avancer quoi. En même temps aussi, permanent secrétaire ministre Development Community Esther Thomas fait parole que le programme comme ça autant important pour le développement communauté. Thomas aussi complimenté le comité de développement Lacoudoué pour organiser le programme ça là. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour Nouvelle Créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson. Ni un bon week-end et un bon saison Noël. Au revoir.
We now join Pearl Fontaine for this week's edition of Flashback.
Hello and welcome to Flashback. Topping the headlines this week, government launched its multifaceted National Employment Program and Trade and Employment Expo on Monday. Dominica hosted the Caribbean Association of Fire Chiefs Conference. The week-long activity brought together chief fire officials from the Caribbean region. And with regrets, Dominica's 5th president, Vernon Shaw, passed away at 83 earlier this week. Cheyenne Monell was elected as the new president of the Waitukubuli Entrepreneurs Levee, and the Inland Revenue Division is in the final stage of implementing its tax e-filing system, a service where taxpayers will have the option of filing their taxes online. This week, news surfaced that Dominica would engage a Chinese firm on constructing a modern hotel. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit stated that this new development is government's latest move to increase the number of hotel rooms on the island. Dominica's Fire Act is currently under review. Honorable Bernard stated that government is mindful of the condition under which fire officers are asked to operate, and it is in this regard government is looking to review the legal and administrative framework of the department. Health and safety of the island's contractors was the focus of a national consultation on Thursday, and government held a national consultation on development of child-friendly programs and policies in collaboration with UNICEF. Organizers of the 3-day Trade and Employment Expo hailed the event a success. And those were the headlines which made the news this week. I'm Pearl Fontaine.
Thank you, Pearl. Take time for you this Christmas. We'll tell you just how you should do that on today's tip of the day coming up next.
Do you have uncovered water storage drums around your home? Do you dispose of old tires, cans and old containers capable of holding water anywhere in your environment? Are you being bitten by mosquitoes, particularly at dusk and early morning? Do you keep houseplants in water? Do you spend your hard-earned cash to control mosquitoes? Has your community experienced dengue fever outbreaks? If your answer is yes to at least 3 questions above, you are at risk to dengue fever. Join the fight against dengue fever. The responsibility for a dengue-free Dominica lies with you. So, get rid of the Aedes aegypti mosquito.
We are conditioned to think that Christmas is all about giving. So how about taking the time to give to yourself as well this year? Take a few moments in the day to practice meditation or stress-relieving breathing techniques. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and your comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.
Thank you.